All right, everybody, welcome back to the True Detectives podcast. I'm Adrian Smith,
And I'm Dr. Julia Jones.
and we love bringing you these crazy stories every single day about detectives and investigations. And well, today,
We have a good one.
yeah, it's a real humdinger. We've got a drug bust gone wrong, some serious personality clashes, and a whole lot of danger as we dive into the world of undercover operations with a powerful cartel.
You know what really gets me about this case is that it plays on all those tropes we see all the time in crime movies and TV shows.
Yeah,
You've got the classic like cowboy cop versus the more calculated undercover agent.
right.
And it's really fascinating to see how those contrasting styles like actually play out in real life.
Yeah. Okay. So let's set the scene for everyone. We've got Detective Jack Stone,
Yeah.
nicknamed
I've heard of this guy.
Sledgehammer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, well, the name kind of speaks for itself, right? He's known for his aggressive tactics.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, the whole bust first, ask questions later kind of
Yeah.
approach. Not exactly known for his subtlety.
That's what they're calling him, Sledgehammer, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So this is where the trouble starts. Stone leads this raid and, well, it goes completely sideways.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they spook a crucial informant.
Hmm.
Somebody who was embedded deep within the cartel that they were trying to take down.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, and this isn't just any low-level player either.
Right.
This informant had access to some serious intel stuff that could have really crippled the cartel's operations.
So this isn't just a simple botched raid.
No.
The consequences are much bigger here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They potentially jeopardized the entire investigation because of Stone's heavy-handed tactics.
Wow. So what happens next? I mean, they got to do something about Stone, right?
Yeah, can't just let him slide on this.
No way.
Internal affairs is all over this case. Stone's career is hanging by a thread, and his superiors need to find a way to salvage the situation.
So what do they do?
Well, they could send him to anger management.
Yeah.
Maybe make him write, I will use proportionate force 1,000 times on a chalkboard.
That's a good one.
But no, they decided to give him a chance of redemption. A high-risk, high-reward opportunity.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
They pair him with Agent Vega, a specialist from Narcotics, an undercover operative.
Oh, wow. Agent Vega, I've heard whispers about her.
Yeah, she's practically a legend in the precinct.
Right.
Known for her ability to blend in, disappear, become whoever she needs to be to get the job done.
Like a chameleon.
Exactly. And she's already deep undercover within the cartel.
Oh, wow.
So Stone's mission is as much about extracting her safely as it is about taking down the organization itself.
This is where it gets really interesting. You've got these two complete opposites.
Yeah.
Stone, this bull in a china shop, and then you have Vega, who's like a phantom, a whisper in the shadows.
It's the classic odd couple pairing.
It is, but with incredibly high stakes.
Yeah, imagine trying to mix oil and water.
I know, right?
Their approaches to law enforcement are fundamentally different.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even imagine how they're going to function as a team.
I mean, it's definitely a recipe for conflict, but it also creates this really interesting opportunity, I mean, for each of them to learn from the other.
Right.
I mean, Stone is so used to just brute force smashing through obstacles.
Yeah.
But Vega operates in a world of subtlety, of playing the long game.
So how does this partnership even begin to work? I mean, does she try to teach him subtlety?
Well,
Does he try and convince her that a battering ram is the best way to go?
it's more of a dance, really.
Oh.
A delicate balance between their two very different styles.
Right.
You know, Vega becomes his guide to the cartel's underworld, showing him how to navigate its hierarchy and how to avoid drawing unnecessary attention.
So instead of kicking down doors, he's learning to pick the locks.
Exactly. It's a complete 180 from his usual style.
Yeah. But I can imagine that's not easy for either of them.
Oh, no, not at all.
Stone's used to being in control.
Right.
And Vega, she's used to working alone, trusting her own instincts. And now she's got this unpredictable element in Stone
Yeah.
who could compromise everything.
You can practically feel that tension between them.
Yeah, I bet their first few operations together were a masterclass in passive aggression.
Oh, probably. But you know what? It's fascinating because even though their approaches are so different, there's this grudging respect that starts to build between them.
They realize they need each other.
Exactly. They
Right.
need each other's strengths to succeed.
So walk us through some of those early moves. How do they start climbing the cartel ladder?
Well, their first real test involves targeting low-level dealers, the kind of busts Stone is used to.
Right.
But even here, Vega guides him.
Okay.
She shows him how to use his brute force strategically, you know, how to gather information while making a statement.
So they're using his reputation to their advantage.
Exactly.
It's controlled demolition instead of just smashing everything in sight.
You got it.
And with every operation, Vega's gathering more intel, getting closer to the heart of the organization.
Right, and identifying those key players.
Okay, but we all know this is just the calm before the storm, right?
Right.
I mean, we're dealing with a cartel here.
Yeah, they don't forgive and forget so easily.
No, they don't. Things
Yeah.
are going to get a lot more dangerous.
The deeper they go, the higher the stakes, and the more they'll be forced to confront not just the cartel's brutality,
Right.
but the compromises they'll have to make just to survive.
And that's where we'll pick things up in the next part of our investigation of this incredible case.
It's gonna get intense.
You won't want to miss it. Stick with us as we delve further into this twisted tale of undercover ops, cartel intrigue, and this unlikely partnership that just might bring it all crashing down. Welcome back to the True Detectives podcast. Now, when we left off, Detective Stone and Agent Vega were starting to make some headway in their investigation,
Yeah, they were.
using Stone's intimidating persona to their advantage.
Right.
But I have a feeling things are about to get a whole lot more complicated.
Oh, you are absolutely right.
As they climb the ranks of this cartel,
Mm-hmm.
the pressure just keeps getting more and more intense.
It does. Every step they take,
Yeah,
they get closer to their goal, but also closer to the edge.
closer to exposure.
Yeah, exactly. And, we're dealing with a cartel here.
Right.
I mean, these guys are notorious for their brutality. They don't hesitate to eliminate anyone they see as a threat.
So the stakes are incredibly high.
Oh, incredibly high, not just for the investigation, but for their lives.
Yeah, so how do they manage to navigate this world?
Yeah.
How do they avoid raising suspicions as they move deeper into the cartel's inner circle?
Well, Stone's role really becomes even more critical.
Okay.
He evolves from being a blunt instrument to a more calculated weapon.
I see.
He becomes Vega's enforcer,
Okay.
using that sledgehammer reputation
Right.
to instill fear and secure their position within the organization.
So he's basically playing the part of a loyal heavy,
Precisely.
someone who can, handle the dirty work without asking too many questions.
Yep, cracking knuckles, busting heads,
Right.
solidifying that image of a volatile and dangerous figure.
Yeah, but it's got to be a dangerous game for him to play.
It is a dangerous game.
This constant dance with violence.
Yeah.
The moral compromises he has to make.
Right.
It's got to take a toll.
It creates this internal conflict,
Yeah.
this constant struggle between, his duty to the mission
Right.
and his personal code of ethics.
Right.
It's a battle he fights every single day.
And what about Vega? I mean, how does she handle this?
Well, Vega's a fascinating study in compartmentalization.
Yeah.
She's incredibly skilled at detaching emotionally, focusing on the objective.
Yeah.
She understands that sacrifices have to be made.
Okay.
But I think deep down,
Yeah.
she recognizes the toll it's taking on Stone.
Mm-hmm.
There are these moments where you see a flicker of concern, a hint of empathy.
Right. Almost like she's playing two roles.
Right.
The cold and calculating operative,
Yeah,
but also this concerned mentor
it's true.
who understands the weight of what she's asking of him.
Yeah, their relationship is definitely a complex one.
Yeah.
It's a very delicate balance of trust and suspicion. They're both playing their parts,
Yeah.
but there's this sense that they're starting to see each other as more than just pawns in this dangerous game.
So the tension keeps building as they get closer to the top of the cartel.
It does.
The risks escalate. The lines get blurred.
And
Then-
then comes the pivotal moment.
The meeting with the cartel boss.
Yes.
Where everything is put on the line.
Precisely. They find themselves in this high-stakes situation.
Yeah.
This lavish gathering
Right.
of the cartel's elite.
Stone must be completely out of his element.
Oh, completely.
Surrounded by all this opulence and power.
And Vega's there,
Yeah.
playing the role of his glamorous companion.
But
But underneath it, all the tension is palpable.
one wrong move, one misspoken word,
Yeah, it could expose them.
lead to disaster.
Absolutely. And that's when the cartel boss decides to test Stone.
Oh boy.
He wants to make sure he's truly one of them.
How does he do that?
He offers Stone a vial of their latest product, a potent and very dangerous new drug.
Oh, wow.
It's a ritualistic initiation.
Really?
A test of loyalty and a way for the cartel boss to assert his dominance.
Talk about a pressure cooker moment.
I know, right?
What does Stone do?
He's caught in this impossible situation.
Yeah.
He knows that refusing the drug would raise suspicions,
Right.
but consuming it means crossing a line, betraying his values, as a law enforcement officer.
I can't even imagine the turmoil he must be going through.
It's a decision with huge consequences no matter what he chooses.
So what happens?
He takes a moment, hesitates, weighs his options, and then he makes a choice that will forever alter the course of their investigation and his own life.
Okay, now you've really got me hooked.
I know.
What happens next? Does he take the drug?
Well, that's a story for the final chapter of our investigation.
So.
We'll delve into the consequences of Stone's choice, the ripple effects that spread through their partnership, and the dramatic climax that will determine their fate and the fate of the entire cartel.
Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back with the thrilling conclusion of the True Detectives podcast. Welcome back to the True Detectives podcast, folks. We left off with Detective Stone facing an impossible choice. A test of loyalty that could make or break this whole operation.
It's a decision that really gets at the heart of his identity as a law enforcement officer. I mean, he's always seen himself as, a force for good, a protector of the innocent. But in that moment, he's forced to embrace the darkness to become something he despises in order to achieve a greater purpose.
So he takes the drug.
Right.
He crosses that line, enters even deeper into the cartel's world.
He does. And the scene as it's described in the case files, it's incredibly powerful. It's not just a physical act, of consuming a substance. It's a symbolic surrender, a violation of his own principles. It's a moment that's going to haunt him long after this investigation is over.
And Vega, how does she react to seeing Stone essentially forced to poison himself for the sake of their mission?
She's remarkably stoic on the surface, but I think beneath that facade, there's a storm of emotions brewing,
Yeah.
She understands the weight of this sacrifice, the toll it's taking on Stone, and I think it deepens her respect for him, even as it reinforces her own internal conflict about the methods they're employing.
Their partnership has really come a long way from that initial clash of personalities.
It has. They started out as such polar opposites, constantly clashing over their approaches. But now they're bound together by this shared experience, this descent into the heart of darkness.
They forged a bond.
They have, in the crucible of this investigation, they've seen each other at their best and at their worst, and they've come to a deeper understanding of the sacrifices that are sometimes necessary, to achieve justice.
But they're not out of the woods yet.
Oh, no, not even close.
Yeah.
They're still deep undercover, surrounded by enemies, and the cartel isn't just going to roll over and let them dismantle their operation.
So how do they stay one step ahead?
Well, they leverage their unique skills and their growing understanding of the cartel's inner workings.
Right.
Stone uses his intimidating persona to extract information from low-level operatives.
Okay.
While Vega uses her charm and her ability to blend in to gather intel from the higher ranks.
It's like they become two sides of the same coin.
Exactly. Each playing their part, perfectly complementing the other's strengths and weaknesses.
And as they gather more information, they start to piece together a more comprehensive picture of the cartel.
Yes, their operations, their hierarchy, supply chains, vulnerabilities.
They're building a case from the inside out.
A case that could bring the entire organization crashing down.
But I imagine the pressure is immense.
Oh, it's enormous. They're living a double life, constantly looking over their shoulders, knowing that discovery could mean certain death.
And the psychological toll of this kind of undercover work.
Oh, it's heavy. It's enormous.
Battling paranoia, fear of exposure.
And for Stone in particular, who's already wrestling with, the moral compromises he's made.
Right.
It's a recipe for a breakdown.
So how does he cope? Does Vega offer any support?
She does, in her own way. She reminds him of the bigger picture, the lives they're saving, the communities they're protecting. She helps him to compartmentalize, to focus on the mission, and to push aside the doubts and the guilt.
It's amazing how much their relationship has evolved,
It is.
From that initial clash to this bond of shared purpose and mutual respect.
They found a common ground in their dedication to justice, in their willingness to risk everything to take down a criminal enterprise that's causing so much pain and suffering.
So tell us, what's the resolution? Do they manage to pull it off? Do they bring the cartel down?
Well, I don't want to spoil the ending for our listeners, but I will say that the climax of this investigation is nothing short of explosive. It's a culmination of all their efforts, all their sacrifices, a final showdown that will leave you breathless.
Okay, now you've really piqued my curiosity.
I know, right?
I guess our listeners will just have to, delve into the case files themselves to find out what happens.
It's a story that deserves to be told in its entirety, a testament to the courage and resilience of those who work undercover, to protect us from the forces of darkness.
Well, folks, there you have it. The incredible saga of Detective Jack Stone and Agent Vega, a story of unlikely partnerships, moral compromises, and the relentless pursuit of justice.
We hope you found this investigation as gripping as we did, and as always, we encourage you to explore the case further, dive into the complexities of undercover work and the challenges faced by those who walk that thin blue line.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of true detectives. Remember to rate and follow the True Detectives podcast for more incredible stories of crime and investigation.
Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.
And remember, the truth is out there waiting to be discovered.